So, good morning, class. We are discussing the interpretation of statutes, and we have started the rules of interpretation. Earlier, we discussed the literal rule, mischief rule, golden rule. Now, there is another rule that is called harmonious construction. These rules are, I once again reminded why these rules. These rules are only for the help of the judiciary because they have to interpret the law. What is interpretation? Interpretation is a primary function of a court. When a matter on a dispute comes before the court, it is a duty of the judiciary, duty of the High Court or Supreme Court to interpret the law and find out the true intention of the legislator. And at the same time, it has to must fulfill the need and the welfare of the people, because the ultimate purpose of law is to justify they have their rights should be protected, and if anything they are supposed to provided by the any substantive law, and they would get that benefit. So there is another rule. There are so many rules, as I already mentioned the list: literal, mischief, golden rule. Apart from that, harmonious construction. Then we will discuss the beneficial rule of construction. There are some maxims too. We have to discuss. We have already discussed the strict rule of interpretation, in which we have discussed the penal statutes interpretation, and we also discussed the classification of statutes, because I told you that the which kind of statute is that's why there is a classification. If the penal statute, then it has to be interpreted in the strict manner. If some law is for the benefit of the certain group of people, then it has to be interpreted in a liberal manner. There are some law which are mandatory in nature, then it has there only literal rules can be applied. So this is the why the classification required and why different kind of rules required, because interpretation is a continuous process. There is no any scientific formula to interpret anything. Judiciary has to interpret how or in which manner. For that there is separate different kind of rules, and as well as the different the classification is just so that, because the person who legislate law, they cannot explain to why they have mentioned this particular law. They have mentioned their will and intention in the text form, and that text and form have to understand the judiciary. So therefore there is something should be there to help the judiciary, and these are the things are only for the helping the judiciary, so that they can interpret the law in a better and best condition. That's why it is called, and I told all the time that interpretation is a continuous process. It is not a mechanical, it is an art to define law. Go everything you cannot legislate. The parliament, the legislature cannot legislate new law, but yes, every day there is a certain kind of interpretation can be possible. It is a way to see something. Each day you can see the things in a different manner, on some issue, on the same subject matter, on the same thing. Maybe the judiciary had decided something today, and in the next day, tomorrow, maybe they can overrule their own decision, because it is interpretation. It is the process to define the law that may vary with time and demand of the people. So, we are talking about the harmonious construction. It is also one of the important rule of the interpretation. According to this rule of interpretation, when two or more provisions of the same statute are repugnant to each other, then in such a situation, the court, if possible, will try to construe the provisions in such manner as to give effect to both the provisions by maintaining harmony between the two. And the question is that the provisions of the same statute are overlapping or mutually exclusive may be difficult to determine. It means this, what this rule says is rules would, if any two particular section, if any two particular articles of any statute are crossing each other, are repugnant to each other, something is say something is say, then the judiciary will what supposed to do? They have to do, they have to maintain the harmony between them. No one is perfect, nothing. No, it is the role of the judiciary to keep a harmony between that conflicting sections or articles of that statute, and they have to interpret it in a better manner. इसका तात्पर्य यह है, इस रूल के अनुसार जब किसी भी एक पर्टिकुलर लॉ की, मैं बार बार कह रही, एक पर्टिकुलर सब्सटेंटिव लॉ, एक पर्टिकुलर एक्ट के दो सेक्शन दो आर्टिकल एक दूसरे से विपरीत व्यू दें, अगर व्यू दें जैसे एक में कुछ और कहा जाता है दूसरे में कुछ और दोनों एक दूसरे को कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट करें, दोनों एक दूसरे से रिपंगेंट विरोधी हो, विरोधाभास हो, कहीं कुछ और हो कहीं कुछ और हो, देन व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ द जुडिशरी? जुडिशरी हैव टू कीप हार्मोनी। जुडिशरी को उस हार्मोनी को बैलेंस करते हुए एक लॉ की सही व्याख्या देनी होगी और इस तरह से देनी है कि किसी भी सेक्शन की वैल्यू को कम नहीं करना है, बट you have to define the law. That is why they call nobody can interpret the law better than the judges. Nobody, because this is a very tough task, because the legislator have framed their intention in the text and they have to understand. So this is called harmonious construction. If you have studied so many substantive law, you will get many sections in which there are exceptions. There are different view. Like in Constitution, there is a fundamental right, but at the same time there is emergency provisions. In that, the fundamental right can also be suspended. It means that at some point, Constitution gives you something, but sometimes they have given the power to the sovereign authority to suspend that power. It means there is a conflict opinion, and this is the role of the judiciary to keep the balance on the conflict sections of any statute. What they does, judiciary, the legislature clarifies its intention through the words. As I told, the legislature have done and they mention their text और उन्होंने अपना intention इस statute के provision में दे दिया. So here the basic principle of harmonious construction is that the legislature could not have tried to contradict itself. In the case of interpretation of constitution, the rule of harmonious construction is applied many times. यही बात मैं बता रही थी, वो लेजिस्लेटर ने अपनी बात को शब्दों के माध्यम से कह दिया, नाउ जुडिशरी को उसे हार्मोनी की तौर पे उसे हार्मोनियस कंस्ट्रक्शन अप्लाई करना है और उसे इस तरीके से प्रेजेंट करना है कि उनके इंटेंशन को आप बाहर दिखा सके. In the cases of interpretation of constitution, this rule is mostly applied. संविधान के केसेस में ये रूल बहुत ज्यादा अप्लाई होता है. It can be assumed that if the legislator has intended to give something by one, it would not be intended to take it away with the other hand, as both are the provisions have been framed by the legislator and absorbed the equal force of law. One provision of the same act cannot make the other provision useless. Thus, in no circumstances the legislature can expect it to contradict itself. दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव एक्सप्लेन यू कि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि किसी भी एक्ट के किसी भी लॉ के कुछ प्रोविजन एक हाथ से कुछ देते हैं, दूसरे हाथ से उसे लेने की बात करते हैं. अब लेजिस्लेटर ने उस चीज को बनाया है क्योंकि वह भी जरूरी था. There are something because you cannot yes, the fundamental right are the most important right and everything except one habeas corpus, all the fundamental rights can be suspended. Why this is? Because the framers know that there will be some situation in the future when these rights should be suspended for some time. That's why that particular articles had been mentioned in that. So यही काम है जुडिशरी को कि वो किसी भी प्रोविजन को यूजलेस ना करे कि नहीं दैट इज यूजलेस, ये नहीं इसी चीज को आपने उसे कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन को खत्म करना और एक बेटर लॉ की इंटरप्रिटेशन करनी है. इस चीज को समझने के लिए वी हैव टू डिस्कस सम केस लॉ. एज आई टोल्ड यू इन ऑल द रूल्स यू हैव टू यू विल गेट ओनली सम in a brief manner you will get something, and for how these rules can be applied in any particular case, from that you have to study more and more cases. I mentioned here some cases which are in my opinion are easy to understand, but this is not specific. You can take some more examples from the book, and someone has messaged me that which book is important. As per my opinion, I like Bhattacharya book most, but even Sarthi's book is also good, so you can go through with both the books, Bhattacharya and Sarthi. Both are the very good books as per my opinion. So there is the case Ishwari Khatun Sugar Mills versus State of Uttar Pradesh. What happened in this case? The state government proposed to acquire sugar industries under this act, and this was challenged that the sugar industries were declared to be controlled by union under this act, and accordingly the state did not have the power to acquisition of requisition of property which under the control of the union. The Supreme Court held that the power of acquisition was not occupied by the industry regulation. State had a separate power under this. This is the word. Under some act, the state government had did something, but As per this act, the Union government has a power. Now, these are the two things which keep which are giving the contractor view, and then the Supreme Court has to decide the power of acquisition was not occupied by the Industries Development and Regulation Act. The state had a separate power, and that power of state is a separate power. We cannot combine, we cannot collaborate the both the part, because both are the different periphery, both are the different subject matter and the issues, and both are the valid as per their own peripheral. Okay. We have some more cases also. Now I'm going to discuss one more case, M Krishna versus Sinha. In this particular case, what happened? As I talked about 1901 fundamental right, freedom of speech and expression. When 194 of 3 provide that the parliament for publishing its contempt, and it is known as the parliamentary privilege. You have discussed in the last semester the parliamentary privilege, in which the whatever the things had been done in the parliament, nobody can challenge, nobody can publish that things, and that is the part of parliamentary privileges. But what about the Article 91? 91A says freedom of speech and expression. In this particular matter was also happened that some newspaper editor has published something with the proceedings of the parliament, including those portions which are expunged from the record. He was called for the breach of parliamentary privileges, and what the judiciary did, it means Article 91 and this particular section, article of the Constitution giving the conflicting view. Someone you are getting something, freedom of speech, and someone you are debarred from doing something. It means under parliamentary privilege you cannot supposed to do something. So what the court decided, the court is he contended, the person Mr. Sinha contended that he had a fundamental right to speech and the expression. But the court decided Article 19(1)(a) itself talks about the reasonable freedom, and their freedom of speech expression shall pertain only to those persons which have not expunged to on the record, but not beyond that. The court decided, yes, you have the fundamental right of expression and speech, but that is not an absolute freedom. That is a conditional freedom, because and you cannot explain or all the things that is not, and that proceeding which you have published is even not in the record, so you cannot do, and it is the beyond the power. It means this is the how you can get so many interesting facts in cases in which you will get that how the judiciary maintain the balance. It is a matter of only balancing of conflicting opinions of two articles of any act or constitution. This is called the balancing, because we know nothing, no right is isolated. The every right has acquainted with so many interests of the people. Even you buy a pen of 5 rupees, yes, you are the absolute owner, you have a complete right, but you can do whatever you want, but you cannot write anything about me on through your pen, because from in your periphery, in your that right, my interest is also available. That is why I discuss this thing, that no right is isolated, every right is acquainted with the so many interests of the people. There is also a case of Bengal immunity versus State of Bihar. In this particular case for the tax imposition, whether in that particular matter what happened, a company which are incorporated in the West Bengal but doing business in the Bihar, then the Bihar is also imposing some tax. Then they questioned that, they argued that it is not possible, a company is registered there, so you cannot levy tax on us, but the state government and the judiciary decided that you are using the infrastructure, you are using the manpower, you are using the space of that particular, you are doing the business there, then you have to pay the taxes at both the places. Shankar Prasad, Sajjan Singh, Golaknath, Kesavanand Bharti, these are the cases of especially mention the fundamental rights and the directive principles and emergency provisions, and in which you will get the basic structure of the constitution, the how and which extent the constitution can be amended. These are the things. So this is the very good examples of the harmonious construction. And one more also case is Ranjit Udasi versus State of Bombay, in which also section 292 of IPC was interpreted by the judiciary. Many more cases you will get, and you must read, because it's a very good subject and also a very good subtopic to know about the law. This is a conclusion. Every nation has own judicial system, and nothing is perfect. And if the language is clear, then everything is fine. But if their language